Good morning, everyone. How are you this morning? Happy Sunday. Welcome back. This is week 35. Before we get started, I wanted to show you something. My friend Howie Jones over at Food Forest Permaculture sent this to me. Uh, sent this to me quite a while ago, and I thanked him for it at the time, but I never really showed it at all. And so I wanted to do that, and I wanted to show this little thing to you. They are this electricity, and is the name of the company, and these are waxed. They have beeswax on them, and you're supposed to be able to use it as a cover for your prep, whatever you're putting in the refrigerator, instead of using plastic wrap, which I'm anti-plastic wrap, and I hadn't used these before because, well, to be honest with you, I put the envelope down over with my seeds, and I went my seed catalogs, and then I completely forgot about it. But it's supposed to be weather tight, airtight and what have you. But I wanted to do a little experiment. I don't know if you can see, but I've got water in my usual coffee mug, and I wanted to see if it would hold the water. I don't want a big mess, but I do want to see if this will actually be effective. So, and the whole thing is the warmth of your hands heats up the wax. It causes it to. So here we go. Oh, it didn't come out. Doesn't seem to be lifting. The lid's wet. Voila! I feel just like a magician. Okay, so this is a company, and they are in Canada, which made Sandra over at Nana's Worms and Garden, made her very happy because she's Canadian, and she thinks Canada is the greatest thing. And it is, honest. There's some very good products coming out of Canada. Anyway, this is how it came. There were little two of them, and I've only tried the one. It says it's easy to clean. You can just use a little bit of soap and water or put it on the back. I have another friend who said that he uses it like for cheese. Yeah, they get block cheese, and he puts it in that and washes it and uses it again and again. So apparently I'm one of the last to know. Just a thought. Do I have anything else I wanted to show you? Yeah, I do. All the different things that I recycle, and the more I recycle, the more I recycle. And Rick made that comment too. He says the more things we learn, the more we seem to be recycling more and more and more. And so I wanted to kind of go over the list of things that I do recycle. You can see off here to the side that I have the grains. I think you can see that. Those are moringa stems. We are working in the backyard. I started it, and I started trimming some of my trees and stuff back. It's a little early for us, but I had a feeling that Brian was not going to be helping me with bringing me his grass this week. So I said, "Oh, wow!" I said to Rick, "I've got to get weight somewhere," So anyway, I was started trimming my moringas. They really need to be a tree that you control. And so the greens on the top, I dry them on this tablecloth, and I keep my tablecloth clean. It gets washed each time and dried thoroughly, and then fold it and put away so that whenever I bring it out, it's clean. And I'm laying the moringa leaves all over it. You've seen them, I'm sure. where I do almost like a decoration. It looks so pretty. And then after a day or so, they naturally dry. I could dry them in the dehydrator, but I think the fact that they naturally dry over, well, that's about 14 hours, and you can see that they're already shriveled. Tomorrow they will be crumbly enough that I can just take a rolling pin and go over it, and it will just break it right down. And then I put it through my NutriBullet and strain it, and I get all the powder, which we ingest. I put that powder in our morning yogurt, and along with cinnamon and our fruit, and it keeps us healthy. Along with my other thing that I've told you about is my Dose, that's DOSE, Dose coffee extract. Which, it's so early here, it's only 20 after 5. I'm still waking up. But anyway, the things that, the purpose of this, if you're new here, which I'm sure you aren't, I seem to have the same old friends and crowd who come and visit me every Sunday, and thank you for coming back. But it's, on the wet side, it's, coffee grounds, tea bags, flowers, any of the flour, anything wet that you have that would be something that you'd put down the drain. Your fresh fruits, your fresh vegetable peels. If you get something and you put it in the refrigerator and it's got a little bit of mold to it, that's a good thing, actually. I used to be creeped out by it, but now I realize that mold and bacteria. It helps if you have worms or you have compost, and it helps to break things down. My coffee grounds over there, there's 2 nice coffee filters that are still damp. And once I get that little thing full, then I give it to my worms. I have 6 worm bins, and so it's constantly somebody's getting it. As I'm bringing in flowers, I can throw that into I can throw that into my can of worms. 2 days ago, I did a video, if you look back, and it was on making leaf mulch using just my Drake elm leaves that are so small that I don't really even need to pulverize them or break them up, but I can, and I have. And last year I have them in a container, in a large container, and I was getting so many of these leaves, and I kept thinking, gee, they're going to be moldy, I'm going to have to throw it out, it's going to be a problem. And then I started learning more, and that was that the mold is actually, is a good thing. It's because it starts to break things down. And so I started adding my plumeria leaves to it, which added more moisture, and I started using my Yardfully aerator and turning it, and I mean it really, if you go back and just 2 days ago and you look at that, I mean the mulch, it really surprised me, because it looked almost like coffee grounds, but with maybe a little bit more texture to it. And I started mixing the coffee grounds, started mixing that leaf mulch with worm castings, almost a 1-to-1, and then I'm planting my caladiums, and I'm digging holes, and I'm putting in a handful of that combination of the leaf mulch and the worm castings with the bulb on top of it, so that bulb is sitting on this rich, moist soil, so that it's really going to give it a kickstart on sending those roots down. Yesterday I showed you a video on 10 days later on the caladium bulbs, and the caladium bulbs are being grown in 2 trays that have Miracle Grow potting soil moisture control with about 20-25% worm castings. And I watered them once when I watered it in, and about 5 days later I thought, gee, that top really looks dry, so I just took a spray bottle and just kind of sprayed the top. But 10 days later, when I was pulling those out and they had these beautiful roots, you could feel the bottom was still moist. So if you have that and you're in a contained situation, then Miracle Grow worked real well for me in that this is the first time I've ever used the moisture control. And so that's one thing. But if you're doing it in your garden and you want to make sure that they have something, leaf mulch was a great way to go. So I save all these things, things that I don't carry about the weight of it, because you know the whole thing is that we're trying to get to 2,000 pounds. Things like my corn and peas, the liquid in those, it has a sugar base to it, and so I just put that on my worms, or I put it in my watering can. I water my stuff. It's all going back to the soil, and that's the whole purpose of this experiment, if you will, this another 52-week adventure. If you have rice, you can rinse your rice. It has vitamin B in it. You can use that. You could drink it. You could use it on your skin. You could use it as a rinse for your hair, or you could give it to your plants. So on the dry side, anytime we get cereal and there's the dust in the cereal, the dust is stuff that we really should eat because it's nothing more than Cheerios down at the bottom. But I save these bags. I reuse them in my freezer if I have anything that I think, oh gosh, a meat package, and bloody meat package, and yes, maybe you rinse it, but are you gonna put that in your trash? On a Wednesday when your pickup is Monday, you got 5 days of smelling that? No, I don't think so. Put it in your freezer just as it is. Put it in a bag, and I hear people say, well, yeah, but I use those freezer bags. Did you have to buy it? Yes. Is it made with a petroleum product? Yes. That's a no-brainer for me. This was free. So anyway, all my papers, I save my papers, whether it's newspaper, whether it's cardboard, whether it's scrap papers from the mail. Did you know, if you're a worm farmer, that even those ones with the windows, I still take the glue part off, because the glue is a cellulose, a sugar base, and the worms like it. So cardboard toilet paper rolls, my favorite thing. I ask people for their toilet paper rolls, and they just kind of go, okay, well, she's a whack. Paper towel rolls, your Kleenexes. If you're using Kleenex or you're using paper towel to dab your nose, save it for your worms. Save it for your compost. It will break down. What are we? What's our mucus? It's probably a salt and sugar base also. So the worms would love it. As you can see, I've got my fruit and veg dehydrated here, and a little representation. Let me just get up and show you. I'm being stuck back here. Hold on. And I just wanted to show you this. This is the fruit and veg, and I feed that to my worms or the compost. Here is a mix of seashells and shrimp shells and the fruit and veg. And you can see it's just a little difference in color, but that shrimp shells add chitin to it, which is a protein, and you can add that to your worms, you can add it to your compost, and of course this is good old eggshell, and the eggshells act as grit for your worms, and it adds some calcium. If you don't have worms, you can add it to your compost. If you don't have compost, add it to your plants. They'll love it. These are my plumerias that are still blooming, thank goodness. And they will almost, they're almost like cotton candy as far as you can see they're starting to turn brown. Well, they'll get almost like a liquid. Of course, I've told you coffee grounds. Bread, anything that's stale, anything in your pantry that's stale, and things like that. And so that brings us to our conclusion. Oh, I'm sorry. If you sweep something off the floor, put it in your worm bin. If you sweep something off the floor and you don't have a worm bin, put it back outside. You're not going to ever clean the world. So that said, we did not have our friend Brian this week. I think Brian has gone on vacation. And he's leaving his grass to grow taller and taller and heavier. So I'm hoping I get it next week. Anyway, our total, just us, because we did our own trimming and I worked it. If you were running by my house and you looked like you were a branch, I took you in. Anyway, I came up with 38 pounds, so whew, good us. But let me see what I did with my little paper here. Here we go. We had to start a new one. Isn't that fun when you get to start a new one? You go, oh boy, we've gotten all this part done. We were at 1,282 pounds, and with our 38 pounds, we've got 1,320 pounds, 14.6 ounces. Don't forget those ounces. And so we're making progress. We've got 680 pounds, just shy of it, to go. And I don't think there's anything else to tell you, to be perfectly honest. I hope everybody has a great Labor Day weekend. If you are in the U.S. and you celebrate, it is to celebrate the workers of labor force. And I should have done my homework. I'm sorry, I don't remember who did Labor Day. If it was in the 20s, in the teens, in the 20s, if it was Calvin Coolidge, or if it was Woodrow Wilson, or if it got to Hoover or Roosevelt, or I can name the presidents. You're old. You're old when you can go back and name like 13 or 14 presidents. And I might not have been alive for them, but I do remember them, or my parents talking about them. My parents were born in 1911 and 1913, so they do remember Calvin Coolidge and Wilson and those old presidents. So anyway, that's off track. I hope everyone has a great day. I hope you'll come back and see me. These are my lovely caladiums. If you are interested, like I said, I've done a few on the bulbs. It's time for me to go out and show you what they look like in my my Drake elm garden in the front. They're really putting on their stuff. It's been just 4 weeks. We came home on the 27th or 28th of July. This is the end of August. It took me a week to get out there. So this is like going from a bulb to what we would think of as a bloom in less than 4 weeks. So all good. Anyway, I hope everybody has a great day and a great weekend, and stay safe. And of course, don't forget, garden what you've got. Use what you have, folks. Take care. Bye-bye.